Welcome to New World Systems W-2 processing video. In this video, we will cover how to process W-2s. We will walk you through the process of creating W-2 data, basic review and editing capabilities, printing W-2s, making the W-2s available in eSuite, and creating your W-2 transmittal file. In this video, I will refer you to My New World for additional information. The video you are watching is located within My New World. You might wonder, what is My New World and how do I access it? My New World is New World Systems customer portal. You may access from within Logos in the upper right-hand corner by selecting the New World Systems logo. You may also access My New World via this website, www.ftp.newworldsystems.com. You are able to request a login from a link right on the sign-on page, or you may need to refer to someone within your organization. The information we are reviewing is also in the year-end guide, titled Human Resource W-2 and 1099-R Processing. It is located on My New World, Customer Service, and then Articles. Each year there is an updated guide for the current year. The year will be in the title of the guide. This guide also contains a W-2 processing checklist, which you may find very beneficial. It also contains information for how to set up and process your 1099-Rs. Before we begin, let's review some common topics. Have you registered with the IRS for electronic submission? This process can take up to 45 days. If you haven't done so, you may want to do this soon. Are you aware that the Social Security Administration has help available to test your W-2 transmittal before you upload it to the IRS? The software is called AccuWage. You can find more information at www.ssa.gov. Have you ordered your supported tax forms? Well, to find out more information, you can find it on My New World, Customer Service, you guessed it, Articles. In the left pane, search for year-end supported tax forms. Select the link to the year that you intend to create the tax forms for, where detailed information will be listed. As with every year, there will be a Logos year-end release to accommodate changes required by the federal government. In order to process your W-2s, you will need to make sure that you are on the year-end release. When you review the Human Resources W-2 and 1099-R processing guide, you will find the Logos year-end release version number. Compare this version number with the version of Logos your organization is currently using. To locate the version of Logos, while logged into Logos, select Maintenance, About Logos, and the version number will momentarily display. If you are not currently on the required version, be sure to address any plans to upgrade to the required version as soon as possible. What if you're not on the year-end release, but would like to begin reviewing W-2s, 1099-Rs? Is that possible? Well, please keep in mind that you may begin to prepare your W-2s now, even if you're not on the year-end release. The year-end release is required to actually print and create the electronic transmittal. As you review this video, you will see that you can create W-2s easily. If you proceed, remember you will be reviewing W-2s with the previous year's requirements. But in general, this can help you become more familiar with the process and verify some of the base wages information. Let's begin. To start your W-2 process, select Human Resources, Year-End Processing, W-2 Processing. On the W-2 processing screen, there are a set of workflow buttons across the top. The W-2 Setup, Create W-2 Data, W-2 Company List, W-2 Employee List, Print W-2 Form, and Create W-2 Transmittal File buttons. Each of these options are available when your login has the corresponding permissions and security assigned. If you do not see all of these items, please discuss with the person in your organization that monitors the security for the Logos application. Human Resources, year-end processing, W-2 processing. Let's begin with the W-2 setup. This is where you set up how information pulls into the different boxes on the W-2. First, verify that your tax year is correct. There is the box field directly below it and the box code field. You will go through different boxes on the screen to set up which deductions, benefits, hours codes, or other taxes should make up the information that will populate the boxes or box field for the W-2. Our first example will begin with box 10. Go ahead and select the benefits from the left, moving them over to the right, and then click Save. Proceed with the deductions, making the appropriate choices for your organization and your code setup. Be sure to hit Save for each of your selections. Next, you can change the box to the next item, which is box 12. With box 12, you will have a variety of box codes available in the box code drop-down immediately below. Select the box code that you would like to set up. In this example, we're going to set up EE. Proceed with moving over the appropriate benefits, deductions, or hours codes to the right side and saving as you go. I'm going to grab these here. Move them over, hit Save. Flip through and complete the setup for each of the combinations necessary for your organization. When you've completed your setup of box code 12 and the associated box code, switch the box to box 14. The box codes available in association with box 14 come from a validation set. If you have permissions to this validation set, you should be able to hold the control button and left click on the drop down to add or edit to the previous entries. If you do not have access to the validation set, you may need to request somebody with access from your organization to add the entries for you. These values are stored in validation set 265 W-2 box 14 code. For the different box code associated with box 14, make the appropriate selections after setting up each box code. If you take any items from the left that you did not expect to go to the right, you can easily move them back by double-clicking or highlighting and using the triangles in the middle area. Be sure to save your setup as you go. Continue making the changes. The setup will remain in here. And here's my term life. Move them over and save. Next, select the W-2 company list button at the top of your screen. If you have not processed W-2s previously, you will need to set up your company information. Begin with verifying the tax year by selecting this drop-down. If you have already set up this area in the past, we recommend that you review the company name and address by clicking on the hyperlink for the EIN. Make any changes that are appropriate, click Save by clicking OK. If you need to add a new company, click New. Over here on the left-hand side, fill out the screen appropriately, click OK to save your work. A special note, this area here is where you indicate when you want the W-2s to be available in eSuite. This checkbox controls whether the W-2s will be available in eSuite for this particular company. If this box is not checked, the W-2s will not be published to eSuite. Once you check the box, the W-2s will be available for the employees to see on eSuite. It is very common practice to leave this box unchecked while you are preparing the W-2s for your organization. Once you have finalized your process, you may come back to this area and check the box, then click OK to save. At that point, the information will be available for the employees in eSuite. After you review the W-2 company setup, we will proceed to creating the W-2 data. Let's proceed with creating W-2 data. Select the Create W-2 Data button from the workflow buttons at the top. This is the area where detailed information for each employee will be listed. You will be able to create and recreate W-2 data as often as needed. Just keep in mind that each time you do, the list or data that you had to start with will be replaced by the new data you are creating. This allows you the ability to create, review, make changes, and start over when needed. Remember to proceed with caution. If you've made manual changes to an employee's W-2 results, you will lose those manual changes each time you recreate the W-2 data. Let's review the fields on this area. You have the tax year and the employee field. If I leave the employee field blank, then it will allow me to create my W-2 data for all qualifying employees. If I want to indicate a specific employee and just create data for them, I'm able to do so as well. To begin, select the appropriate tax year, leave the employee field blank, and click the Create button. The length of time for the W-2 list to populate will vary on the number of employees and the speed of your network. As we work through this area, you will see that I will get different messages in this process to help keep me in tune with what other items I have already created. The message you see now says W-2 information already exists. Do you wish to overwrite? I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And my next message is unposted batches exist in this tax year. Do you wish to continue? This one means that I may have some pay batches located under Maintenance, Human Resources, and Pay Batch Setup that are initialized but not completed, not posted. I could have some adjustments that are waiting to be posted under Human Resources, Payroll Administrator Task, Adjustment Processing. Or perhaps I have manual checks that are in process under Human Resources, Payroll Administrator Tasks, Manual Check Processing. Well, that's a lot of detail. And at this point, I'm trying to get familiar with my W-2 setup and how everything's going to look. So I'm going to click OK. Because like you, I like to do a run through and prepare before I have my finalized items needed. Once I click OK, the system will begin to gather the data. The speed that it takes will vary for each organization depending on the number of employees as well as the speed of your network. Once Logos has created the data, you should receive a message that the W-2 employee data has been created successfully. Click OK to continue. After we receive this message, then we can go to the employee list to review the data. Select the W-2 employee list button at the top. When you go to the W-2 employee list, you're basically accessing your work file for W-2s. This is where you can edit, review, and manage all the W-2s that will be created. At the top, there are search fields where you can narrow your search by tax year, EIN, last name, first name, or social security number. Make appropriate choices, then click your search button. To review an employee's record in greater detail, click into the hyperlink underneath their employee name. I'm going to proceed with clicking on this first one here at the top. The first tab you see is Employee Information. This includes basic information such as employee identification and address. All of these fields can be edited as necessary. If you want to edit any of the fields in the work file, all you have to do is highlight, delete, and type over. After making changes, make sure you click Save so the changes are retained. The next tab for box 1 through 11 and box 13 pulls from payroll information over the year. You are also able to edit any of the fields as necessary. The box 12 tab pulls the information when you set it up earlier when you were going through the W-2 setup. You can add new items here by clicking New, selecting a box code, enter the amount, and click OK to save it. You can also edit records by clicking on the hyperlink and modifying the amount. When you go to box 14, you may hit New, indicate the box code and the amount. Again, this will all pull from the W-2 setup that you did previously. These are just ways that you can modify specific employees when needed. The State Wages tab pulls from the state taxes. You will see the state ID number, the state wages, and the state income tax associated. Again, to edit, just click on the hyperlink, modify as needed. The Local Wages tab is similar to the State Wages tab. It shows the locality name, local wages, and the local income tax associated with that locality. You can make modifications here the same way we have on the previous screens. Be sure to save your work to maintain any of the changes that you have created. I'm going to breadcrumb back and continue with reviewing the items down in the bottom lower left portion of the screen. If there's an employee that appears in this list that should not be, you may highlight them and then press the delete button down below. You'll verify, yes, you want to delete them, and that will take that employee out of this list of the W-2s. In the same manner, if you find an employee is missing that should be added to the employee list, click New, located in the lower left corner. Add the employee as needed. Once you save, then you will proceed through the rest of the tabs, populating them as desired. Once you have the list the way that you want, a great way to review the information in preparation for printing and submitting your W-2s is view the reports, which are located here at the bottom of this screen. Simply select the print button and you will have the ability to indicate which tax register year you'd like, which EIN you want the list to prepare for, if you'd like it in detail, summary, user adjustments, and to sort by employee name or to sort by department. We will take a quick look at all three of these reports. We'll start with the detail report. I'm going to leave it sorting by employee name. This report is going to show you all the information on each employee's W-2. You can use this report to review all employees in great detail. If you find an issue from this report with any employee's record, you can return to the list and edit as necessary. So I wanted to increase the size so you can see the different information for your review. There's the employee's name, their employee number, and then all the different amounts. If I'd like to, you can send this up to my reports. You can also export or print. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And if I select print, now go with summary. Select OK. Oh, did you catch what I did? I didn't flip my EIN number, did I? So no records match this criteria because I did not prepare for the other tax ID. So let's do this. Make sure this is there. It's really just this selection here. Change it to summary. Say OK. Again, it's going to generate to my screen. So it really does come down to what your preference is when you are generating these reports. This is in alphabetic order. And again, you can send to my reports. I'll send this one up there. And I'm going to proceed with the last item, and this one's real important. This is the user adjustment. So let me adjust my EIN number. Remember those few that I just made some changes to? I hit OK. So this user adjustment report, this is really handy. If I know that I'm going to go in and I'm going to recreate my W-2 data, and I get that message that stuff already exists, maybe I want to go to the employee, to this W-2 employee list, and go down to the bottom to the print, select the user adjustment report, and that way I would have my work saved here for me and it really is just the ones that I made changes to. And that'll make it easier for me as I go forward in making my modifications. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send that up to my reports. If you see anything on these reports that, perhaps you would like to edit, do you remember where you'd go for that? That's right. You can just go right into their name here, click on their hyperlink, and make the modification. Okay, our next item is printing the W-2 form. So in my world, I have made everything the way that I want, and I'm ready to print my W-2. So I'm going to breadcrumb back now to my employee list. Here's my print option right up here. And again, when I come here, it will remind me different things. This is a nice warning to get. Remember that when you actually go to print the forms, that you might need to select the printer option of fitting it to the form itself. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Let's discuss what we have here on this screen. You have multiple fields here. Of course, make sure that you have the right tax year. Pick the correct employer identification number that you are using. If you want to print a form for just one employee, you may select them. Or if you leave it blank, it's going to print for all of them. Under the form type, this is where you indicate whether you are printing out the employee portion or the employer portion. So clearly you will end up doing this process at least twice. We're going to start with the employee section. The margin box is over here. In actuality, with the supported form types right now, the margins should not affect it, but it really will come into play that you will want to print a couple test forms once we get this generated over to the PDF. So let me say that a different way. I'm going to leave the margins here, leave them alone. They're not really going to affect what's about to happen. Then I'm going to say how I would like them sorted, again, whatever your preference is. And then what type of W-2 form that you'd like to use. So I'm going to leave it at my default and hit print. Again, I get my reminder. This is the warning system that tells me that I may need to select the fit from the PDF print window. Please test one or two first before submitting all to print. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? So now it's going to print the PDF up to my reports. I'm going to slide up there to the far right. And there's that register, my summary that I printed earlier. My user adjustments report is here, and here's my employee printout. If I select the PDF here on the left, or if I can click right on the words. I'm going to click on the words, and it's going to populate this information in the right-hand window pane for me. And I'm using this plus sign up here to increase the size so I can review the information. So I have multiple choices. I have the ability to print reports, and then some people prefer, they might even print this out to blank, everyday blank paper for their review. Ultimately, you must print them according to the IRS guidelines for the correct form. And then I can breadcrumb back and repeat my steps and prepare for the employer portion. Again, picking the correct form and being sure to test the items. See, this is green, it's still in process. It's going to take it just a moment or so for it to create the information and make it available for me. Report statuses have changed, okay. And now I'm able to look at the employer portion of this particular form. So I hope you're finding this information helpful. The next item is to proceed with the W-2 transmittal. Let me get this out of here. And we'll go over here to create the W-2 transmittal form. It's not really a form, is it? It's more of a file. So make sure the correct tax year and employer identification number is selected. A lot of the fields will be populated automatically based on information that you've set up elsewhere. Select the type of employer or kind of employer that you are. 501c, non-government, federal government, non-apply, state, local, 501c, state, local, non-501c. This is something that within your organization, you will have this information. So for my example here, I'm just going to pick the 501c non-government. I have my submitter PIN number. In the upper right-hand corner here, I have my transmittal layout, and I definitely right now am in the process with this particular year. So again, pay attention to the tax year you've selected here on the left, as well as the transmittal layout over here on the right. Indicate this information and how they can get a hold of you. Fill it out as appropriate, and then click Create. Here at the bottom of my screen, or nearly the bottom, it says W-2 transmittal file has been submitted and will be sent to my reports. So let's go back up here, check it out. My transmittal is still being created, so it's green, so we'll just wait a few moments. Report statuses have changed, say OK. And if I'd like to take a look at my transmittal, again, I can open it up here. I'm going to just open it up through the words. Down at the bottom of my screen, I have the option to save, save as, save and open. I'm just going to select open for this video. And this is where I can literally look at the information in Notepad and see how everything is going to be uploaded to the IRS. At this point, when this is open, and if I'd like to save it, all I have to do is click on File, Save As, and save it wherever it's appropriate on my network. Well, this concludes the basic portion of the W-2 processing. And the next part of the video is about setting up the additional items like Box 13 retirement plan and how to get that to be automatically checked on the W-2, as well as things with the 12DD requirements. So we will proceed with that. Box 13 Retirement Plan Checkbox has 3 ways to check the box automatically when you create your W-2 data, and 1 way to enter manually. The first way is to associate an employee with a pension number. The second way is to set up a deduction or benefit as a type of pension or deferred compensation. The third is a user-defined field on the employee. As a note, you only have to do one of these options to check that box automatically when you create your W-2 data. When necessary, you may manually check the box right in the W-2 employee list. So let's begin. To associate an employee with the pension number, you will do this on the employee's personal screen. Go to Human Resources, Workforce Administration, search for an employee. On the Employee's Personal tab, there's a section called Demographics, and the pension number field will appear there. If you enter a number in this field, the Box 13 Retirement Plan checkbox will be checked automatically when you create your W-2 data. Another option is to set up the benefit or deduction with the type of deferred compensation or pension. You may set up your benefit type or deduction type as deferred compensation or pension. To access your deduction and benefit codes, go to Maintenance, Human Resources, Deductions and Benefits. Then select Deductions. In this list, search for your deferred compensation deduction codes and verify that the deduction type is set to deferred compensation. From the same area, well, close, from Maintenance, Human Resources, Deductions and Benefits, search for your pension type benefit codes and verify that your benefit type is equal to pension. In this example of a deduction code, on the left-hand side, you can see that the deduction type is set to deferred compensation. Any employee that has this deduction associated with them and has had any deduction amounts taken from them in the tax year will come in with the retirement plan checkbox 13 marked. It will work the same way if the deduction type is pension as well. Here's an example of a benefit that any employee that is associated with this benefit that was taken over the tax year will pull in with the box 13 retirement plan box checked. It will also work the same if the benefit type is deferred compensation. The third option is to use a user-defined field. Set up the user-defined field in the maintenance area, and then you'll indicate information on the employee. To create the user-defined field, go to Maintenance, Logos Suite, Security, User-Defined Fields. Select a record type of employee, employment. If not already set up, add a section header for year-end. And change the maintenance type then to section header. And click New and Add. Now go to the employee's workforce record. This is located under Human Resources, Workforce Administration, search for the employee, and then the Employment tab. Check the box 13 Retirement Plan if it's appropriate for this employee. Now we're on to box 12DD for the W-2s. As you know, box 12DD is actually set up in your W-2 setup, which we did earlier. So Human Resources, year-end processing, W-2 processing, W-2 setup, and then you create box 12 with the different options available. Now, what do you do when the benefits, the deductions, and the hours codes they don't add in all the factors that you need to populate box 12DD? When this happens, there's actually a way that you can add these additional amounts on the employee with a user-defined field. So we just went over where you create the user-defined field. So when you go in there to create this for box 12DD, please remember this. The name must be exactly as I tell you. The tax year must be defined as the first portion of the name. In this example, we have 2014 box 12DD. The section header's year end. The sequence number is optional. The data type is monetary. Decimal places equal to 2. And required, leave blank. Click on OK to save. Once this is defined, you're able to go to the employee's workforce record in the same area that we've been in previously. Go to Human Resources, Workforce Administration, search for the employee, select their Employment tab. Scroll to the area where you have your year-end user-defined fields displayed. Through editing or creating an event, you can indicate a monetary amount. That's all there is to it. So thank you for taking the time to review this video. We hope that you have a wonderful time preparing your W-2s. Here's some contact information. The Logos Call Center. You may reach us at 1-877-734-3315. You can also use My New World. You select Public Sector and Customer Service. It's here where you can create a case, select articles for different information that you'd like to learn about. You may also submit ideas. Thank you.